Hello, beautiful alchemist. Welcome to Reiki Radio. I am your host, Yolanda, and we are celebrating 11 years of Reiki Radio. So today, the episode is not an interview. In fact, I am sharing with you the energy of September. It is something that I do every month. If you are a member on my newsletter, you actually receive the Energy of the Month video every single month. And it's just so that we know how to best navigate each season, kind of journeying through the astrological signs throughout the year, but also looking at the essence of every new moon, full moon, some of the retrogrades that come up. Again, it's just a way of us being in conscious connection with our own energetic alchemy. But aside from that, again, we're celebrating 11 years of Reiki Radio. I started the podcast back in 2013, and it has evolved a lot over that time. So many changes, and I'm excited for what's to come. As I mentioned in the energy of the month that you will hear in just a moment, I am beyond it just blows my mind how much the podcast has opened up to creating community and the beautiful conversations and people and teachers and authors and practitioners that I've gotten to, meet through the interviews and just so many beautiful connections, including getting to know some of you. So whether you have joined me for classes or workshops or just send an email, I really appreciate you being here. And I appreciate that we are together celebrating uh, 11 years of Reiki Radio. Who would have thought it would have lasted this long? Certainly not me, but I am very thankful nonetheless. The other thing I wanted to let you know before we get into this conversation about the energy of September, I want to wish you all a very happy new moon in Virgo and happy Virgo season. Happy birthday to all of the beautiful Virgos that are out there. Very many Virgos in my life, and I love you all. So happy birthday to all of you Virgos. Also wanted to let you all know that the registration for the 2025 membership of the Alchemy Circle is now open. So if you've ever wanted to do the year-long mentoring program with me, which includes automatic access to all of the online classes that I will teach in 2025, right now there are 10 classes scheduled on top of the weekly mentoring private events that we do in the Alchemy Circle. If you want to do that year-long mentoring program with me, the registration is open now. So go ahead, schedule, sign up. Our first class starts on December 29th, and there is limited space, of course, within the membership. And if you want to upgrade and go a little deeper to include personal one-to-one sessions with me every month throughout the year of 2025, those sessions will start in January, but that membership is called Path of Self-Mastery. And that's so we can be more personalized with where you are and how you are evolving throughout the year. So there is so much that we're going to explore together. We're going to do practices within the system of Reiki. We're going to look at Hermeticism, other aspects of the arts of energetic alchemy. And I am looking forward to that. So you can go to my website, theenergeticalchemist.com, and sign up for your membership now. And again, classes begin on December 29th, and the Path of Self-Mastery sessions start in January. All right. Well, we are in the month of September. The number 9 is very significant for so many reasons. And this is the 9th month, which is ending a cycle as we approach the autumn equinox. And we'll talk some more about that in a moment. But also, we are going into a universal 9-year next year in 2025. And there's so much I want to talk to you about as it relates to that, what it means for us and our paths, but also your personal year numbers. We'll get to all of that closer to the end of the year. But for now, just want to thank you so much for being here. I hope that you continue to enjoy Reiki Radio, share with your friends, your family. Thank you so much. I'm very happy to celebrate 11 years. 11 years. My goodness. All right. So let's talk about the energy of September. I will see you all on the other side. Hello, beauties. Happy September. It is September 2024 and it is Virgo season. And today, as I'm recording, it is also the new moon in Virgo. It is September 2nd. But we're here to talk about the energy of the month so that all of us can learn and grow through the energy, the essence of Virgo. But of course, happy birthday, first and foremost, to all of you beautiful Virgos out there. So many Virgos in my life, and I'm thankful for each and every one of you. I hope that you all do have an incredible birthday season. But for all of us, as I was saying, we all get to learn through the signs throughout the year, every season. We get to explore the energies of each astrological sign and hopefully learn through their expressions, no matter what our personal astrological blueprints may be. So we are just coming out of August and we were in Leo season. And Leo is ruled by the sun. And it was more about us stepping into this boldness and recognizing the ways that we shine, our creativity, what we are passionate about. It's a very like self focused type of energy, but I wouldn't say in a bad way. I mean, it's really just to highlight and acknowledge what it is your gifts and talents may be, and what it is that you do feel passionate about, and what it is that makes you feel like you're center stage in your life and in the world. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. That's part of getting to know ourselves, getting to know another layer or facet of who we are and what inspires us to be the creative beings that we are. Because we are all creative. It's just a matter of what we're creating and if it is aligned with what we feel passionate about and what feels right and true for us. And that may change throughout life, by the way. I mean, we all evolve and grow, and there are different seasons of life. So Leo season really amplified that for us. It also brought a lot of light and awareness to just how we are being, how we are seen, how we're even known to ourselves. And that energy also focuses a lot on the heart. Leo governs the heart. And so you may have had some clarification even around some of your connections. And again, what really matters for you? What is up top for you? Well, that was setting us up for Virgo season. So now we move into Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. And not only that, we ended Leo season and entered Virgo season in a Mercury retrograde. So we all know about Mercury retrograde. We talk about it again and again. If you want to know about the most recent, you can watch last month's Energy of the Month. But now we're coming out of the Mercury retrograde. It's stationed direct just a few days ago. So we have what is called the shadow period, where it's kind of like we're transitioning out of the retrograde. It doesn't just automatically stop on a dime when Mercury stations direct. So we're moving into this energy of clarifying that essence of Mercury, where we start to have more clarity of mind, clarity of thoughts, and returning to some more clarity around communication, which makes a lot of sense for Virgo season in of itself, because this is an energy that asks us to become more clear about what it is that we personally feel purposeful about, or what makes us feel a sense of purpose in our lives. It's also a beautiful energy. Even though we're out of the retrograde, Virgo still says, where do we need to make revisions? Where do we need to make adaptations? What needs to change in order to make things better, more efficient? It's a beautiful reflective energy that supports the way that we plan moving ahead in a way that is practical and sensible, and gives some more structure to the ways that we are doing things. And I have to say, the structure of Virgo and, having this reflection also around our health, because Virgo season really highlights that as well. Our health routines, how we're caring for body, mind, and spirit. all of this focus is like perfectly timed, so to speak, after the fire and the surge of inspiration of Leo. That earthy Virgo energy kind of grounds us back down into a bit more of reality, so to speak. And again, sets us up to analyze what really matters most and how we can be of service and how we can illuminate, again, not just being the big, bold lion in the sun, but what really matters on a practical level. What does really, truly um, uh, illuminate us in a way that feels more meaningful and purposeful, not just for the sake of being seen, but being illuminated for purpose and, again, to be of service in some way. And this is all happening as we're leading up to the autumn equinox, which we will talk about in a little bit. But Virgo season is beautiful. And speaking of reflection, the card that governs this month is the Mystic card. So if you have the Energetic Alchemist Oracle Deck, pull out the Mystic card, which is the number 9 within the major expression section of the deck. And the Mystic reminds us that sometimes it's good to take a step back and be a hermit for a bit, but not for the sake of just being alone and not to just go into solitude, but rather to create space where we're quiet enough and calm enough and can direct our minds to tune in to the inspirations of our higher guidance. The mystic reminds us that there is a gift in being able to step out of the noise and being reflective beyond just the analytical, which is interesting because, again, Virgo is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is that messenger god, and it really speaks to the essence of our process of thought, how we analyze things, our communication, where this is like the higher octave of that essence, where it's not so much just about analyzing, but first being tuned into higher intelligence, letting us be informed beyond our personal scope of boundaries and restrictions and stories and ideas, letting us be informed by higher intelligence. And from there, being inspired to make decisions and decide what makes sense, what doesn't. And then the analyzer is better prepared for the types of decisions we're going to make as we move forward. So, Virgo season is a beautiful time to even step back. It's the 9th month. Now, the number 9 is always so significant because it points to the end of a cycle. And again, we are about to move into the autumn equinox, which begins the end of a cycle, begins the end of a cycle. It's where things start to fall away. It's like the first uh, phase of the death dark season, right? Before we get into winter. So the number 9 really highlights for us this ability to reflect on the wisdom that we have gained through the year so far. So we'll talk more about that once we get to the equinox, but the Mystic card is the number 9, and we are in the 9th month. And for those of you keeping track, just to also point out, next year, 2025, is a 9 universal year in numerology. We'll talk about that in a minute as well. So, Virgo season, we can focus on revisions, we can focus on our health routines, we can focus on how we can be of service in ways that are more purposeful and making adjustments, making revisions that really support our way forward and create a little more structure for how we're going to move ahead. All right. So, after Virgo, we will also transition into Libra season later this month, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Now, this is the time where you grab your pen and take note of the events of the month. Now, I have to tell you, astrologically speaking, there is a lot going on in September. There are a lot of transits. I mean, it was almost overwhelming. And so there's no way I'm going to go through all of those in this video. I'm just going to hit our main points, which tend to be some major retrogrades and what is going on with the moon. However, I do readings on the app, And under the free content section, I will do some readings there throughout the month. And if those readings happen to fall on a day where there is some type of astrological transit that is worth noting, I will talk about those energies in those videos. So download the app if you haven't already. Just go to the Apple App Store or Google Play for Androids and type in The Energetic Alchemist. You'll see my picture on the app and download it and start tuning in. There's lots of free content for you. So this month, uh, speaking of the transits, I noticed there were a lot to do with the sun and Mercury. There are other planets as well, but it seemed like a lot of, uh, we'll say, planetary connections and relationships that come up around the sun and Mercury this month. Very interesting. But anyway, on September 1st, we have 2 retrogrades that are worth mentioning. So, we can take note of these because the essence of these energies are pretty significant. Now, both of these are what are considered outer planets. They move more slowly, and so these energies tend to last over longer periods of time. But it's retrograde. So it's like these energies are taking that back spin, so to speak, right? So on September 1st, we have the planet Uranus going retrograde in the sign of Taurus. So Uranus is kind of like an unpredictable, kind of disruptive energy. It's most known for its unpredictability and kind of shaking things up. And then we have Taurus, which is this very practical energy, very much related to our finances, our stability. It's also connected to sensory and the pleasures of sensation and these sorts of things. It's ruled by Venus. But with Uranus going retrograde in Taurus, it will be in this retrograde until January 30th of next year. So this brings about some unpredictability around resources and finances. Now, what I will say is when we hear unpredictability, a lot of times there is this idea that it's automatically bad. But what if there is some unexpected great news around your finances, right? So I say that to say, don't make an assumption that just because something is unexpected, that it means that it's like disruptive in a way that is uncomfortable for us. It could absolutely be something unexpected that gives you like reason to celebrate and dance. Okay. So just unpredictable means unexpected. But with that, just to be on the safe side, this is a great time to check our relationship to our resources. So maybe this is a great time to consider your financial planning, to consider adding more money into savings, to consider what you are investing in, to make a plan around what it is you want to start putting some money towards, like really saving or building up that pot, so to speak, to prepare you for whatever is to come or whatever you are hoping to pour some resources into or towards. But again, unexpected could be something great. It could be a windfall of something that supports you and your resources. Now, remember again, resources aren't just about finances or money specifically. Sometimes this could be related to our home. If you are thinking about investing in a new property or selling a property, these kinds of things, this is really some energy you want to reflect on and not just act on out of, I want to say like fear or not being so spontaneous or not thinking things through. With this energy, you really want to have clarity around what you're doing and why. Okay. So just mark your calendar for that. This retrograde, Uranus retrograde in Taurus, is until January 30th. And it is a great time to build and save just because why not? Now, on the same day, we have another retrograde. It's the planet Pluto. Now, Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth. It's a planet about transformation. So, with this planet retrograde, it's dipping back into Capricorn. So, Pluto has quite famously recently gone into Aquarius. but now it's taking a backspin into Capricorn before it returns to Aquarius for a long time. I think a couple of decades. But this is the thing. It returning into Capricorn, taking this retrograde or backspin into Capricorn, it will be the last time that this planet Uranus is in the sign of Capricorn within our lifetime. So it's very interesting. But with it taking this retrograde back into Capricorn energy, Capricorn really focuses on structure, government, leadership, also, just the accountability and responsibility for what we're contributing out into the world. So, with this planet of death, transformation, rebirth being in the energy of Capricorn and in a retrograde, no less, we may see some revisions again, some highlights again that are very specific to the structure, and not just the structures in our personal lives, but on a bigger scale within our societal structures, such as government and these types of things. And for all of us, in the US, it's interesting because this is going to, it's happening so close to our election season where this will be in retrograde until October 11th. So until October 11th, we have this Pluto retrograde, and it gives us reflection, a time to really like take a deeper look at, I guess you would say, like our power plays, our structures, leadership. And yeah, I think we'll see a lot of this more on a societal scale, more globally. But remember that these energies can also touch us personally as well. So this is a good time to reflect on even where you may be, have an opportunity to reclaim your personal power in some way, especially as it comes to how you are contributing to your life, how you are leading in your own life, what it is that you feel called to share or contribute to the collective. Are you being accountable to that? Are you putting energy into that? Are you creating a structure or a plan to really make it possible? And so, how are you empowering yourself in this energy? So, both of those retrogrades start on September the 1st. But then on September the 2nd, the day that I am recording this video, we have the new moon in Virgo. So during the new moon, I call it the alchemist of the month. So if you are on my newsletter, if you are a subscriber to Alchemical News, then you know in the free downloads that you have access to, one is called Creating with the Moon and Stars, and one is called 22 Days of Transformation. They're both like online courses of sorts that you have access to for free. In Creating with the Moon and Stars, I share some information with you about the different moon phases, about eclipse energy, about manifestation, about ritual for new and full moon, all kinds of things. But there you can also access the videos for the energy of every single month throughout the year. Well, in that section, you also will see that I refer to the new moon as the alchemist of the month and the full moon as the queen of the month. And then whatever sign the sun is in primarily for the month, I refer to as the king of the month. So the new moon is the alchemist. The sun and the moon are in the same sign. So today, the new moon in Virgo is not just a time to plant new seeds of intention as we tend to think of for new moon energy, because a new moon is the beginning of a new 28-day cycle. It is the beginning of the start of a new lunation of the moon. The cycles, the phases of the moons, they are 28-day cycles. So this is a time where we consider what we want to nurture, what seeds we want to plant, what we want to start to direct our energy towards, what we want to start to grow. And then during the full moons, we come full circle, and we'll talk about that during the next full moon, right? But during this new moon energy, with it being in Virgo, it's having this consideration of what is it that we may want to initiate or start fresh or do differently or have clear intention and goals or um, uh, plans around as it relates to, again, our health routines. This is very like perfect timing in Virgo season to really reflect on our health, mind, body, spirit, but what we're doing to support these energies, what we have in place to really make sure that we have a plan that helps us to nourish and take care of and have consideration for our physical vessel on all levels, our minds, our emotions, our overall well being. But it's also a really great time. Again, like I said, it's Virgo's season to set some new intentions around how we are being of service and not just willy nilly, but in practical ways that really feel purposeful for us, where we are allowing ourselves to have a certain kind of structure to feel like what we're doing matters. There's a point, whether it's in our work, how we're being of service and showing up in the relationships in our lives, how we are showing up and being of service to ourselves. We can get more clear and structured around how we are contributing to our lives as it comes to these particular points of focus. Now, the other thing about this new moon is that it is in opposition. It is opposing Pluto. And so let me just, I know that opposing Saturn. I was like, no, that doesn't sound right. It is opposing Saturn. Now, Saturn is a planet that is associated with our lessons. This is the energy of, how is it that we are being accountable to the choices, how we're showing up, how we are governing our own lives, again, how we're leading our own lives. And so, with Saturn opposing this new moon, it can bring up this energy of what we worry about, what our fears are, because Virgo does tend to worry. This is a sign that, again, it's ruled by Mercury. So it's constantly thinking and analyzing, which can lead to a lot of worry and a lot of concern about the potential of things going wrong and how to mitigate that and how to avoid things going wrong and to make sure things are as perfect as possible. So, with this opposition to Saturn and this new moon and Virgo, there's this tendency or this potential of us being activated by the fear or worry of possible outcomes and possible potentials where we can be aware of this and instead just observe what does come up for you as a fear or concern. But instead of letting it run wild and overtake you, just observe it as information like, wow, I have this concern, I have this fear, but then be more mindful about how you deal with this energy. Why am I afraid of this? Is this something that I'm completely making up in my head? Where is this story even coming from? Does this even make sense? You can dismantle the fear by looking at it head on, by addressing it, by asking questions that lead you more towards truth and solution. So also make sure you have that on the table. Is there some way that there are things you can modify or do differently that will support you in recognizing there's nothing to be afraid of or worried about? Create solution. Look for the solution. Look for what can be done differently to support you rather than feeling like you are left without, like, a, what do they call, like a boat without a paddle or something like this that is popping into mind. So anyway, during this new moon, just have consideration of those kinds of energies, but more importantly, how you interact with those energies. And also allow yourself to reflect on the Mystic card. If you don't have my deck, if you don't have the Energetic Alchemist Oracle, reflect on the Hermit card if you have tarot. Either way, it's a great energy to help us get clear in the higher frequency of being intentionally in connection with the intelligence of spirit rather than trying to figure things out from the level of our fear, doubt, and worry. Now, in this energy as well, it's important to note that we are not only coming out of the Mercury retrograde, so things are becoming more clear for us. So there may be more that starts to surface into your awareness, but we're also pre eclipse season. So eclipse season is just around the corner. So remember that in this energy, how we start off this month, slow down. We can slow it down, prepare ourselves to clear some things out, to make some changes, to plan for some adaptations, all in an effort to make things better, to make things more practical, to make things more useful, to feel more of a sense of purpose as we enter the beginning of the dark seasons. All right. So that is the new moon in Virgo. Now, we only have two other events this month that I wanted to note. And again, if you want to know about all the other transits, you can either look them up or join me on the app for some of the readings. So on September 17th, mark your calendar. That's when we have the queen of the month. The queen of the month is the full moon again. But this is not just a regular full moon. This is a super moon, which means that we are closer in proximity. So the moon appears to be larger. It seems bigger than a normal full moon would look. So this will be a big, beautiful, full super moon in Pisces, but it's also a partial lunar eclipse. So, in this energy, remember the full moon, I always like to say, what are you full of? It really illuminates from the inside out, whereas the sun is more shining light on what is external. The full moon really brings light to what is internalized and what is coming full circle for us. So, what are you full of? But with this beautiful Piscean influence, allow yourself to tap into the fullness of your creativity. This is really going to amplify that essence, that connection that we have to the other realms, to those realms that go again beyond just the analytical and bring us into that aspect of consciousness that is more imaginative, more poetic, more, deep dive into our dream states, into the altered states. And, this is a beautiful thing, even if it's not your tendency or you tend to like the fact that you're more of a practically minded, more analytical person. We're designed for this. We all are designed to be able to access these multi dimensions of consciousness and to be able to function in the lens of the analytical and in the lens of the intuitive and in the lens of the imaginative and in the lens of the psychic. We're designed for this. So when we have these opportunities where these energies are kind of amplified, it's better to have an awareness of it so you can learn more about your design. So let this Piscean full moon really take you in and take you under into a new level or a new depth of your being and your existence. It's funny, as I'm saying this, it's coming to mind that my moon is in Pisces. Didn't even occur to me till just now saying this, but that's why I'm smiling. This just sounds so delicious to me. Now, the thing with Piscean energy, though, is that there is a tendency in this essence to merge, even accidentally, not even doing it on purpose. It is just this energy where we lose and dissolve the illusions of separation. And so there is this natural merger that comes that allows us to tap into this depth of sensory. That's why it's so intuitive and creative, because it's like we get to allow ourselves to reconvene with spirit in a way that is just so natural. We just let go and surrender. There's no effort here. It's like we drop a lot of our own veils of illusion in this energy. And what we find and what we access can be so beautiful and delicious, so creative. Now, on the dark side of this, we can lose ourselves. We can lose ourselves in what we sense and what we feel. We can fall into illusion and delusion. But that's why we talk about these energies, so that we have an awareness of it, so that we can manage ourselves to go more boldly into like the higher octaves of these energies and catch ourselves if we find ourselves slipping into the lower aspects of these energies. So during this full moon, super moon, partial lunar eclipse in Pisces, dream bigger. Believe in your visions, believe in the magical, expect the unexpected, but in like the highest, best ways possible. Be creative, allow and initiate healing in this energy. Pisces, like Virgo, is also all about service. So when the moon is full, the sun and moon are in opposing signs. The sun is opposing the moon during a full moon. So because the sun is in Virgo, it is natural that the moon would be in Virgo's opposite sign, Pisces. The similarity between these opposing signs is that they both are about the energy of service. Now, how they go about being of service may be very different. On the Virgo side, we have being very practical about how we're being of service. Whereas with Pisces, we have the tendency to totally let go and sacrifice so much of ourselves to be of service. But we learn the lesson of balance between the opposition. So let this intelligence, this axis of Pisces and Virgo, also illuminate for you how you are being of service, making sure you're not losing yourself, but making sure you're also not being so rigid that you sometimes don't give beyond what may be expected. Where is the happy medium for you? What does service look like for you? What does it mean for you? Where you're not completely sacrificing yourself, but you have this beautiful balance of being useful, purposeful, practical, but also having a deep level of empathy and compassion for whomever you may serve. And this, for some of us, could be in the sense of like literally like volunteering or showing up in a very particular way, serving as a way of your life path, your job, your career. But it could also be closer to home. Like, how are you of service in your home? How are you showing up for your family, for your loved ones, those closest to you? How are you being of service, so to speak, like being there of support and showing up, holding space for your friends, your loved ones? And do you allow the same for yourself? Do you allow yourself to be supported and nurtured as well? So there's a lot of beauty, a lot of reflection, a lot of consideration in this beautiful full supermoon. And for my friend who will always ask me, yes, this is when you put your crystals out. All right, lovebirds. So the final event we're going to talk about for September is September 22nd. Happy birthday to a dear friend of mine whose birthday is September 22nd. But this is also the day where the sun transitions out of Virgo and into Libra. We will enter Libra season. Again, I always say, make the most out of each season. Make the most out of what Virgo brings and will emphasize and highlight for us, because it really even sets the stage for entering the next season, which is Libra. Now, Libra is going to take us out of that earthy practicality and bring us into air. So we're going to come out of the body, so to speak, and start to move more into the mind, but also into the energy of pleasure, of desire, of relationship, of connection. So where Virgo will set the stage of planning and getting things in order, Libra is then going to say, now enjoy your hard work. Enjoy what you have just made an effort to create structure around. It's time to take off your shoes and relax a little bit and allow yourself to share with others all that you have set up, all that you have put in place. Now enjoy it. Enjoy it, and not just alone, but with others. Come out of the hermit and move into the threshold, which we'll talk about next month. So we'll move into Libra, where we do tap more into that Venusian energy, more about our desires, pleasures, and highlighting how we relate to others. This could be romantic, but this could also just be any kind of relationship, partnership, collaboration in our lives. That season will highlight and put emphasis on those energies. And we'll talk more about Libra season when we get into the month of October. But the sun will move into Libra on the 22nd of September. And on that same day, we have the equinox. So we have the autumn equinox. Now, on the equinoxes, whether it's autumn or spring, it is when the sun, day and night are pretty much equal in length. So with this particular equinox, there is this emphasis on this balance of the light and the dark within ourselves, But I also think of it as the balance of opposition. Again, Libra being the scales, that could be balancing the duality of anything within our nature, the light, the dark, the feminine, the masculine, above and below. Having some reflection around this and taking stock. Remember, it's also the 9th month. So this is the ending of a cycle where we're allowing ourselves to take harvest during fall, the beginning of fall. So this is where we move into things are starting to fall away. It is the first phase of the dark season, as I mentioned before. So with this, we can really give thanks for all that we have gained, the wisdom we've gained, what we've grown through, what we have learned, how we have expanded, where we've had to rebuild, all of what we've encountered from the beginning of this year until now. Or you can even go as far back as last autumn equinox, last September until now. How have you grown? What has changed? How have you evolved? Now, some people celebrate the equinox. This reminds me of growing up on the East Coast. I live in California, Southern California at that now, so I don't do these things anymore. But growing up in Massachusetts, I remember going to like the apple farms around this time of year, the leaves falling, creating the piles of leaves that us kids would jump in uh, but going to the orchards to pick apples. And this time of year is when you would go to the pumpkin patches and, get the pumpkins for Halloween, all of these beautiful things. But I say that to say it's not just about collecting harvest or admiring all of the harvest of what has grown literally from the earth, but also in our lives, but also taking time to enjoy the harvest, to enjoy all that you have again grown, what has developed, what feeds you, what nourishes you. Having a moment of gratitude is a beautiful way to celebrate the equinox. And again, looking at where things may be a bit imbalanced in your life and having an intention of creating more balance, more harmony wherever that those periods or situations of imbalance are presenting themselves for you, and doing it with the grace of love and gratitude. Again, think of that beautiful Venusian energy, Venus being the ruler of Libra, like just, even exposing yourself intentionally in this energy to um, the arts and music and again, this creative essence and how the beauty of love and connection and relationship, looking at the way that like our connections really support us and give us strength and help us grow. All of these things, a lot that you can consider during the equinox and celebrate. It always brings to mind for me the idea of how we relate to ourselves as well as how we relate to others because of that axis of Libra and Aries, where the two equinoxes occur. So, anyway, if you do classes with me and work with me, we always go deeper into these conversations, but I won't take all of your time on this. So, anyway, the equinox is on the 22nd, and it is a powerful time of year. In fact, during the equinox this year, I will be with a group of beautiful individuals in the Reiki retreat that I am so looking forward to. I can't wait to share space with you all. But for all of us here, I want to thank you for being a part of my community. I thank you for taking the time to watch the Energy of the Month updates. Again, there is plenty of free content that is available on my app, The Energetic Alchemist. Just go to the Apple App Store or Google Play for Android. You can download the app and access a lot of free content. I also, of course, have the podcast Reiki Radio, also free content for you. Hopefully you enjoy the interviews, the conversations. Let me tell you something. I didn't tell you on the calendar here, but September 4th will be the 11-year anniversary of Reiki Radio. I started the podcast back in 2013, and I would have never imagined that I would have lasted this long doing the podcast. I definitely wouldn't have imagined all of the connections and the beautiful conversations and friendships and community that have grown and developed from Reiki Radio. I am beyond thankful for that. So unexpected. But hopefully you will continue to share with me in uh, the growth, the change, the expansion. Who knows what will continue to happen and evolve with the podcast? It definitely has changed a lot since 2013. So I thank you all for tuning into the podcast. You can always help me and the podcast by going to Apple or Spotify or iHeartRadio, wherever you listen, and give the show a 5-star review. It really does help to support the visibility of the podcast. It helps the podcast to become recognized by other people who are looking for community or just would benefit from any of these conversations with these teachers, these authors, these practitioners. And it doesn't cost you anything to do it. So it is just an act of gratitude that I deeply appreciate. Thank you for all of you that have already given a review, written a review. I do read them. I appreciate you. Thank you for reaching out to me too. Those of you who just send me emails to let me know about your path or what you think about the podcast. Speaking of that, on Tuesdays, throughout this year anyway, I have a free roundtable where you can come on Tuesdays and talk to me live via Zoom. They are called Reiki roundtables, where we talk about Reiki, we talk about the podcast, anything you want to share. Those conversations are really driven by you all, by the community, and I show up and I answer questions or I guide us through exercises, whatever it is that comes up. That's every Tuesday, and the link to join for free is on the app. So, again, download the app. You get free access to join me on Tuesdays. For now, next year, 2025, the date for the roundtables will change to Mondays. So, just put that in your calendar if you want to join. Also, if you want to join the Alchemy Circle, the Alchemy Circle has been an ongoing membership program. Every cycle of the Alchemy Circle lasts for an entire year. Now, people always ask me about it, so I just want to make sure you understand, because registration for 2025 is open now. The Alchemy Circle is group mentoring, and it lasts again for an entire year. So we meet twice a week. We meet on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This year, every Tuesday will be primarily focused on Reiki and Reiki practices. And every Thursday will be focused on other aspects of energetic alchemy. What we do in these sessions is they're really like classes, but it's very communal. Everyone participates, everyone shares, and I share with you all teachings, exercises, guided journeys. It's a space that really keeps people connected to their practice, which is why people love it. They love it because they get to become part of a new community and make new friends. Also, thankfully, some of you really enjoy working with me in the way that I teach, but it also helps people stay committed to their practice. So we have scheduled events Tuesdays and Thursdays for the Alchemy Circle for an entire year. Now, if you want to upgrade that and include a personal one-to-one session with me every month, then you can activate your membership for the Path of Self-Mastery, which includes access to all of the Alchemy Circles and one-to-one sessions with me once a month for a year. Now, no matter which membership you choose, Alchemy Circle or the Path of Self Mastery, you also have automatic registration and access to the online courses that I teach throughout the year. And right now for 2025, I believe there are 10 classes already scheduled. So even if you're someone who like randomly likes to sign up for my online classes, this is actually a better value for you because you get the Alchemy Circle weekly mentoring for a year, plus you get access already registered for the classes that are coming up through 2025, the online classes. So yeah, sign up and register because there's always a cap. There's a space requirement, or what am I trying to say? Limitation. There's only so many spaces available for the Alchemy Circle and even less available for the Path of Self Mastery. And that's because they're one-to-one sessions. So I can only take on so many like one-to-one mentors per year. So if you are interested in joining me for a year throughout 2025, then register for Alchemy Circle or Path of Self Mastery. The other thing I want to let you know is because we all do show up from different time zones, the Tuesday events are earlier in the day for Pacific time anyway. I believe it's 11 a.m. Pacific, but on Thursdays it's at 4 p.m. Pacific, which is already moving into the evening for those of you on the East Coast or in the UK. Now, the classes that we do, the online classes throughout the year, take place on Wednesdays and also some Sundays. So you just have so many options open of joining me for classes when you sign up for the Alchemy Circle. That's just the bottom line. I look forward to meeting you. I look forward to working with you. If you want to make the investment of a year-long mentorship, then sign up now, because the registration will close in December. And I know we're just in September, but that comes up quick. And the first class that we have actually starts on December 29th. So join me in the Alchemy Circle. Join me as a member of the Path of Self Mastery, whichever calls to you more loudly. I can't wait to work with you for an entire year. I have to say that's probably my favorite program, because I get to work with you for so long. And so I really get the opportunity to work with people on their path, get to know them. It's just, I would say it's like my staple program. It's what I love the most, and people get a lot out of it. Okay, so that aside, I also finally want to let you know that this month in September, there are a couple events that I will be a part of. So on September 5th, I will be joining Gwen Allison of My Spiritual Butterfly. I will include the link for you to join us for that conversation in my newsletter. And then on September 25th, I will be joining Kim Chesney for an intuition workshop mastermind that she is hosting. And I will be one of the guest teachers for that event. So I will provide you information with that through my newsletter as well. So that is it, my loves. Happy September. Happy Virgo season. So much for us to grow through, to enjoy, to keep shifting and changing. If you have any questions for me, just email me. I will see you soon. Bye for now. Hello, beautiful alchemist. I just want to thank you again for joining me for 11 years of Reiki Radio. We have plenty of new conversations and interviews to share with you this year. And also want to remind you, please sign up, join me for the Alchemy Circle or the Path of Self Mastery for 2025. You can learn more detail about both of those memberships through my website, theenergeticalchemist.com, including the list of the classes that are included in the membership on top of our weekly mentoring events. So a lot coming up for next year, but there's so much for us to sink our teeth into as we round out 2024. So, stay tuned for the upcoming interviews. Reach out to me if there are any particular people you would love to see on the podcast, or better yet, reach out to them and tell them to reach out to me so we can have these conversations with them, your favorite teachers and authors here on Reiki Radio. Thank you for being a part of this community. I love you all so very much. And remember to always journey in love.